Last year, American merchants paid $187.2 billion in credit card processing fees. That's a record. It went up 70% since 2020. Nobody's talking about it. You paid part of that today. You've paid part of it every day this week. You just never saw it on the receipt because the fee was never designed to be seen. And the reason it doesn't show up is because the people who built this system spent 60 years making sure it wouldn't. To understand how we got here, you have to go back to California in 1958. Bank of America mailed 60,000 pre-approved credit cards to the residents of Fresno. Nobody asked for them. They just arrived. This is how the modern consumer credit industry started. One bank blanketing a mid-sized California city in plastic and hoping for the best. It worked. By 1966, Bank of America was licensing Bank Americard to other banks across the country, and a competing consortium had formed MasterCharge, which would eventually become MasterCard. In 1970, Bank Americard was spun off from Bank of America entirely. In 1976, it rebranded as Visa. Here's what that transition actually meant. When the network became independent of any single bank, it became infrastructure. Not just a product, not just a service. The rails that all commerce in America would run on. And whoever owns the rails gets to set the tolls. Quietly. Inside the price. Where nobody thinks to look. This structure has a name in American economic history. In 1911, the Supreme Court broke up Standard Oil for doing something structurally similar. Rockefeller had negotiated preferential rates with the railroads, embedding his cost advantage directly into the price of refined products, without consumers ever knowing the cost was there. You had no other channel. The pricing was invisible. Standard Oil was broken up in 1911. Visa is still running, and you probably used it this week. The mechanism is different, but the architecture is the same. Instead of railroad contracts, Visa and MasterCard use network rules. Two of them matter most. The Honor All Cards rule says that if a merchant accepts Visa, they accept every Visa card, including the premium ones with the highest fees. No picking and choosing. The no surcharge rule, which held in most states until 2024, made it illegal for a merchant to tell a cash-paying customer they could pay less. You couldn't see the cost. You couldn't avoid the cost. You could only absorb it. In 1998, the DOJ filed an antitrust suit against both companies, identifying those rules as anti-competitive. In 2005, merchants filed a class action lawsuit. It took until 2019 for a $5.54 billion settlement to be approved, the largest antitrust settlement in US history at the time. The network rules stayed in place throughout all of it, which brings us to how the money actually moves. Visa and MasterCard don't issue the cards in your wallet. Your bank does. What Visa and MasterCard do is set the price, specifically the interchange rate, which is the fee your bank collects from the merchant's bank on every transaction. For every $100 Americans spend on cards, $1.57 moves through this system. That's according to David Robertson, publisher of the Nielsen Report, which has tracked the global payment card industry for more than 54 years. Doesn't sound like much. Then you multiply it by $11.9 trillion, the total amount of goods and services purchased by card in the United States in 2024 alone. At that scale, $1.57 per hundred is $187 billion. And then it sounds like what it is. Here's where the Honor All Cards rule does its real work. The interchange rate isn't the same on every card. A standard debit card might carry a fee below 0.5%. A premium rewards card, the kind with the airport lounge access, the concierge line, the sign-up bonus worth 3 flights to London, might carry a fee of 2.5% or higher. And because merchants must accept every card the network issues, they're forced to take the expensive ones with no negotiating power. Think of Visa and MasterCard like an HOA that governs every store in America. The HOA sets the dues. Every merchant pays them. Nobody voted for the HOA. Nobody can quit. And the HOA uses those dues to fund really nice amenities for the residents who already have the biggest houses. To make this concrete, a small restaurant operating on a 5% margin does fine on cash and debit. That same restaurant, once customers start putting everything on premium travel cards, can find its effective processing cost climbing to 2.5% or higher on those transactions, cutting its margin in half. The Honor All Cards rule means you take every card the network issues, or you lose the network. And losing the network in an economy where the majority of purchases are made by card is not a real option. So what does a merchant do with a cost they can't control and couldn't disclose? The same thing every business does. They build it into the price. Every item on every shelf already includes the interchange fee. A grocery store operates on margins of 1 to 3%. They can't absorb a 2.5% card fee without passing it on. They price for the card, and everyone pays that price, whether they used a card or not. This means that when you pay cash, you pay the card inflated price and get nothing back. The store keeps $98.43 of your $100. The rest flows through the network. No miles, no points, no cash back. You paid the toll on a road you weren't on. The Federal Reserve published a working paper in 2023 titled, Who Pays for Your Rewards? Redistribution in the Credit Card Market. The paper documented an aggregate annual redistribution of $15 billion, flowing from lower income, less educated, and high minority concentration areas to higher income, more educated, and low minority concentration areas. Congress noticed eventually. In 2010, Senator Dick Durbin attached an amendment to the Dodd-Frank Financial Reform Act that capped debit card interchange fees. The logic was sound. Debit cards draw from existing bank balances, carry lower fraud risk, and the cost should reflect that. It passed. Merchants saved $7 billion a year on debit processing. And then, the banks did what banks do when a revenue stream gets cut. With $7 billion in annual fee income gone, they raised minimum balance requirements on checking accounts. They eliminated free checking, the basic product that allowed lower income consumers to hold a bank account without paying a monthly maintenance fee. They cut debit card rewards programs. The consumers most likely to use debit, most likely to rely on free checking, most likely to be the intended beneficiaries of this reform, they got handed the bill. Premium credit card rewards, completely untouched. The Durbin Amendment capped the small pipe. The big pipe kept running. By 2025, Visa and MasterCard were back with a new settlement proposal. The National Restaurant Association's response, remarkable that anyone could think a temporary 10 basis point reduction is fair compensation for allowing a credit card duopoly to maintain their pricing cartel for 8 more years. The real risks aren't the loud ones. Those are priced in. The real risk is hiding in plain sight.